Good morning and welcome. Look, my name's Lisa. I'm an adult educator and I'm quite passionate about building skills, knowledge and capacity in other workplace educators and other industry professionals who teach. So today I wanted to talk about facing imposter syndrome as an adult educator, understanding it and kind of empowering you to embrace that energy. Now, have you ever stepped into a classroom or in front of a group of adults and you are the expert and your heart is pumping? You know, you are preparing to lead these adults who are often, industry professionals, wise, intelligent people, and you might be feeling a little bit insecure. You know, am I good enough? Do I belong here? If that sounds familiar, then this podcast is for you. The good news is, however, that it's not a reflection of your competence, but it's really a reflection of your passion, and it is an opportunity for growth. So, what is imposter syndrome? I'd love to know if you could write in the notes what you think imposter syndrome is and how it shows up for you. Quite often, it manifests as self doubt, fear of being found out. And, if you have been successful, you're like, oh my goodness, I don't want others to know that I'm just, one step ahead. It might look like questioning your authority in the classroom or in that group. Yeah, it might look at feeling insecure about your knowledge and even your qualifications and experience. It might show up as comparing yourself to other professionals, past educators, bosses who are expecting a monumentous change in a short period of time. It can be that inner critic. And when that inner critic gets amplified in front of a classroom of people watching you, it can impact how we teach, how we deliver, and the effectiveness of the work that we're doing. So, why does it happen to adult educators? I think because the stakes are high. We are there to share our knowledge. Maybe it's because you are expected to be a teacher because you're good at your job. And the two, teaching and being a professional, are separate professions. You're looking at being a dual professional in an arena where you're only trained to be one professional. So it could be lacking that knowledge and skill of the art and science of teaching adults. It could be the evolving roles that, like as an educator, you're not just a teacher, you're also balancing the roles of mentor and engaging lifelong learners and, understanding how to support people who might struggle with reading and writing or retaining knowledge. And I think the best one, the one that most, well, a lot of high achieving people have, professionals have, is that myth of perfection. Perfectionism really kills our ability to take inspired action, to take action quickly, and it not having to be perfect. So, what do we need to do? How do we understand and manage for, professionals who are teaching imposter syndrome? The first one is to recognize what it is for what it is. The second is to try and shift your perspective. Third is to reconnect with your why. 4 is to build on feedback, and 5 is to embrace lifelong learning. 6 is to cultivate networking. support and support from your network. And, the seventh is to practice self-compassion. So let's talk about the first one, um, recognizing imposter syndrome for what it is. We've talked about how it shows up. It's really important for you to reflect on how it shows up for you, because when you can recognize it, you can manage your nerves. You can sort of say, no, I'm feeling this way because this is important to me. And if we can change that perspective about what it is and why it's showing up, we move away from the shame and the secrecy, um, by starting to name the feeling and acknowledging it. So understanding that this is common. I believe that all good public speakers, all good teachers, all good trainers, all good coaches experience imposter syndrome from time to time. It's not a sign of your inadequacy. In fact, it's completely different. It is a sign of your passion, and it's something to embrace and use. Use it as a gauge for self-improvement and professional development. The second one is shifting your perspective. We've sort of talked about this a little bit, yeah? So instead of seeing the imposter syndrome, those nervous feelings, as a weakness and wanting to hide them, view it as a sign that you're stretching yourself. You're outside your comfort zone. And it's not until you get outside your comfort zone that you will grow as a teacher and a leader. So this understanding that imposter syndrome is really, really common, and feeling the feelings of discomfort, it's an understanding that when we feel uncomfortable, it's a sign that we're growing. So it gives you permission to step into new challenges. And this is what adult learning is about, isn't it? It's stepping into change, and it's being able to manage change. We are expecting adult learners to manage change, and we've got to do it ourselves as well. The third one's possibly my favorite, and I think this really holds a lot of power. Why are you teaching? I've met people who are teachers because it's easier than their other job, perceived easier. I don't think that's why you should be a teacher. I think you've got to have a passion, and it's the more planned you are, the more understanding you have, the easier it is to share that information. So why did you become an educator in the first place? What impact are you having on people? Can you name a student or name a situation where you felt like you've done something good for the world? It's time that we bring these unique qualities of ourselves and those successes that we have, whether they're huge or whether they're not so huge, it's time to celebrate these wins and connecting to our why and really thinking about what we do and what we're good at and the impact that we're making. This is going to, and celebrating your wins, it'll help you navigate the journey and learning for an adult. And as an adult educator, you are an adult learner. It's a journey. It's up and it's down. Some days are better than the others. When you've had a bad day, how can you improve it? What would you change? It's a different cohort of students quite often, which means we've got to approach the teaching and learning in a different way. How can you do that? All right, the fourth sort of steps on from that. It's build on your feedback. So we can get really distorted images of ourselves if we don't look at life through a lens that is kind. And the same with teaching and learning. So if you put on your kind glasses, what is it that you see about yourself and the feedback that you are getting from the students, from the peers? Now, it's not always going to be perfect. It's not always going to be wonderful, because you are teaching a huge array of people. Yeah. And people who have come to learning at different situations in their life. They've got their own struggles, and sometimes they bring them to class. And like I said, sometimes you are on the money with your teaching and sometimes you're not. But the more you become aware of your mood and your feeling, and the feedback that you're getting, then you can be quite mindful about how you show up, what planning you need to do, and reshape your own perceptions of yourself, to be a little bit more positive than your previous perceptions. So look through kind lenses. Yeah. The fifth is embrace lifelong learning. Obviously, good teachers are good learners. As an adult educator, you are the champion of lifelong learning and the value of learning. So lead by example, enroll in professional development courses, connect with other professional educators, and stay curious. Curiosity is like a superpower in adult learning. Growth combats our feelings of inadequacy. You know, the more that we progress, the more that we can, see the world through the lenses of kindness, the more that we can be critical of ourselves, but with a criticism that helps us grow. So embrace that lifelong journey. And the next one, in number 6, is cultivate a support network. It's important to have a team that we can talk to. Teaching can be such a lonely predicament. It can be such a lonely um, profession. And imposter syndrome loves loneliness. It loves the isolation. So join an educator community. I invite you to join the Educator's Edge, my Facebook group. It's free to join. It's just a group of for adult educators. Doesn't matter what industry you're in. It doesn't matter what qualifications you have. It's a place to learn. It's a place to connect. It's a place to seek support. So that's the Educator's Edge on Facebook. So join the communities, share your experience, gain encouragement, and learn from others who walk in your shoes, who understand your feelings of inadequacy, who understand your feelings of imposter syndrome, who want to celebrate your successes with you. And finally, number 7, practice self-compassion. You don't need to be perfect. You need to take imperfect action. You need to be effective. We need to connect with people on different levels in different ways. Show yourself the same kindness and patience that you offer learners. Mistakes and uncertainties are part of being human and being an excellent educator. We make mistakes. We've got to have made mistakes, because how are we growing? So finally, I just want to recap by saying that imposter syndrome is a sign that you care deeply about your role as an adult educator, as a leader of learning in adults. Instead of letting it hold you back, let it remind you of your commitment to growth, of your resilience, of your passion for helping others learn. This builds businesses, this builds communities, this builds our nation. So every step you take to manage those inner doubts is a step towards being, a stronger educator, an influential person in the workplace. So remember that you do not need to be a perfect teacher. You need to be a real one. and real ones have feelings and we have emotions and we make mistakes, but we are passionate about what we do. Seek support. Let's have a community that helps us manage this change. Let's have a community that helps us get out there and teach well. So if you are facing imposter syndrome as a educator, join me in normalizing this in a conversation. Share our thoughts, share your strategies and experiences in the comments. Together we can learn to thrive and not just survive, and build strong businesses and compassionate communities for learning. I am sending you so much love. Thank you for joining me. I'm Lisa Ellen, founder from the Academy of Learning. I'm an education nerd and leader. Enjoy. Thank you, thank you, thank you.